welcome to my channel. I'm Maeve, and today we're picking up from where we left off in this neoclassical home. I did cut out a few things, mostly final touches on the shelf and layout, and now we're starting to really fill the rooms. I think in my last video I forgot to introduce myself or even say my name, but it's Maeve. That's Maeve, and that's where I got the name of my channel from. It's a pun on the word marvelous, and I'm totally aware of how nerdy I sound right now. Anyway, let's talk about kids' rooms. I love to go nuts on kids' rooms. I love these fun unicorn colors that I chose for this one, and I gave it kind of a fantasy theme. I adore these cloud shelves, and you know, the light fixtures and the decals in this room I think ended up matching with that. I seriously use all of those in every single kid's room. They come in a bunch of different styles, so you're able to use them a lot without the room looking the same every single time. This room in particular is for twin girls. I made them angelic as their toddler trait because large households are very difficult to play. I put 3 potty chairs in this room. I know that's not very realistic, but it makes gameplay a heck of a lot easier. Actually, I was thinking this house might be good for the 100 baby challenge. If you're wondering what the 100 baby challenge is, because not everyone watching this actually plays The Sims, it's a challenge to have had 100 babies born on your lot in the shortest amount of time possible, spanning generations of a single lineage of Sims in your game. There are a bunch of other rules too, like I don't think your sim is allowed to get married, and no other adults are allowed to live in the household. So I would probably never do this type of challenge. It sounds super stressful, but I say it might be good for that type of challenge because there are these 2 bassinets in the master suite. But there are already 6 other Sims plus a dog, so there's not room for 2 babies right now, because the maximum household size I think is 7. So maybe after the teen ages up and moves out, then the toddlers could each age up to child, and then they would each get a room, because one would get the teens room and one would get the toddlers their old shared room, and then there would be room in the household for the 2 new babies. But from a programming standpoint, babies actually function as items. They're not really Sims in The Sims 4. They're items that you have to be responsible for and care for. So I'm actually just not certain if I could make my sim pregnant with twins when the house is this full, or if maybe I could, since they're not actually Sims until they age up to toddlers. Although I know there's a mod for that. Like if I really wanted to, I could just download this mod that lets me have up to, like, I think 50 Sims in my household, which I don't recommend, because it's gonna make your game lag unless you have like an incredibly powerful machine. By the way, I apologize for any background noise in these videos right now. I'm currently in a room with no carpet, and this microphone picks up everything, but I've been thinking about relocating to a different room in my house which has carpet, and I think might have much better acoustics. So maybe we'll try that for next week. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing with my entire sound setup, and not to mention I'm not sure what kind of video editing software I should use. Right now I'm using just whatever everything came on my computer pre-installed, and I don't want to get overwhelmed by a program that does more than I need it to do. So it's just a matter of doing some research and figuring out what's going to work best for me. Something else I was going to mention about using this house for the 100 baby challenge, but now that I'm looking at this green bedroom, I remember is this room is actually for a grandparent. But remember, I said for that challenge, you can only have one adult in the household. So you could convert this room into something else if you're doing that challenge, like a skill building room, because that's another one of the rules. Your Sims aren't ever allowed to age up until they build up a certain amount of skills. Anyway, I made this green bedroom for an elder. She's the maternal grandmother of the teen and the twins. I gave her the aspiration, I think it's called Renaissance Sim, where they want to have a lot of skills. I haven't decided which skills she's going to be into. I was thinking about making her a writer, since that can be very lucrative in The Sims, not in real life. But I also just got the nifty knitting stuff pack after I had already completely finished this build. So I could do that, but for easier gameplay, it might make more sense to give her skills in cooking, cleaning, childcare, handiness, so she can repair things. So it really depends on if you care more about creating a storyline or if you care more about completing game objectives. Anyway, so this red and blue room is for the teen. I ended up putting a lesbian flag in her room because it went with the color scheme, so that's a part of the story now. I made her clothing style a little gender nonconforming too, and I gave her some trophies and a blue ribbon at her desk. So I decided to dress her in a Letterman jacket. And also, I was thinking all the kids would be in scouts. I like my Sims to be somewhat outdoorsy because it can give good boosts to their mood. And also, the world that came with Outdoor Retreat is so gorgeous. So I should really build there sometime, actually. But anyway, I also was thinking she's really into animals because I bought pets right before I started this build. So I was thinking maybe she wants to be a veterinarian. She has this Dalmatian. They're very strongly bonded, and in real life, Dalmatians are very high energy animals, and I reflected that in the dog's personality in the game. So she goes on jogs with the dog a lot, and I think that's going to mean that her athletic skill will be very high. I'm talking about these Sims as though I'm going to actually play them. I never actually get around to playing the game, even though I really want to, because I spend so much time building instead. But I will upload the family to the gallery when I upload this build, though. Which, by the way, I will be uploading this lot and the family to the gallery once I post the final video of the series next Friday. So I might play them in the future, or you can play them. But the truth is, I make these Sims so that I can play test the builds, because I use cheats and stuff, and that can cause some items to be unusable if you don't place them just right. And so then I end up having fun making my Sims. So if you're interested in watching a Create a Sim videos, let me know. Other videos I've been thinking about doing, I'm already actually working on a fly-through video, which would be like a tour of this house using the cinematic camera. There's also a camera that makes it look like your Sim is wearing a GoPro, which could result in some interesting captures. I was also thinking this might be especially fun to do with a pet, but I could also make storyline videos. One of my favorite challenges growing up and playing The Sims 1, 2, and 3 was to do the Legacy Challenge, which is where you start with a single Sim and you put them on an empty lot, and you can only use the money that you started with to build your starter home. And then you have to go through 10 generations, and there's all these different rules, but it could make an interesting sort of storyline video. Or I could try to do some machinima, which, if you don't know what machinima is, it's when you take video clips from your game and you make it into like a movie. So The Sims lends itself to this very well, of course. But in the olden days of early YouTube, there used to be this show on YouTube called Red versus Blue, and it was made using clips from Halo. But Sims Machinima has been around for a very long time, and that might be something interesting to get into. Anyway, I'd love to hear what other kinds of videos you might like to see besides builds, what challenges you would like to see. I also just got the Tiny Living Stuff Pack, so let me know if you're interested in watching me build tiny homes, because I know those are popular, and I could move from one build to the next much more quickly as well. Wow, I really took a long time on the teens room. It was just a lot of clutter, and that takes time to place. I also spent too much time playing around with the color swatches in that room. Another reason my builds take a long time is because I'm really indecisive, because I'm a perfectionist, and something I'm trying to learn how to do, or how to not do, rather, I guess, is how not to let perfect be the enemy of done. Which basically means that you have to be okay with making mistakes sometimes, because if you try to make every little thing perfect, then you won't finish things, and then you can't get better at doing things, in this case, building or making videos, without finishing lots of them, you know? Also, I'm sorry if my tone of voice or my audio settings have changed a little bit in the middle of this video, but I actually just got done taking a little break from recording so that I could Skype with my best friend Lisa. So shout out to Lisa today. Hi, Lisa. Anyway, I struggled with the master suite in this house big time. I couldn't get it to match the original floor plan. Because the proportions of the rooms on the ground floor are slightly different from the floor plan, because the floor plan uses feet and inches, of course, but The Sims just has these square tiles, which I treat as being approximately 1 square meter each, but I have no way of knowing if that's right. It's just my best guess. Anyway, because the proportions are slightly different from the floor plan on the ground floor, they ended up enormously different on the second floor. So the master suite ended up being ridiculously large. I mean, it's large in the original plan, but wow, I did not know how to use this space. And having the two balconies, because there's the one indoor, which was part of the original floor plan. But then, of course, there's the outdoor balcony, which wasn't in the plan, that I was kind of forced to add in order to have these columns. And I talked about that in the first video. But anyway, it made it a little more complicated to have these two balconies right there, because it pretty much limited the way that I could arrange items in that entire quadrant of the room. But the bathroom and the walk-in closet ended up really nice. Big walk-in closets are actually very fun to design, and I've been thinking about getting the Moschino pack, I think it is. I don't remember if it's a stuff pack or a game pack, because it has like that photography stuff in it. But anyway, I've been thinking about getting that because it has a lot of things that could go in a big walk-in closet. Another thing is, I've been thinking I need to get City Living so I can use the closets that came with that expansion, because the closets in City Living are the most like the closets that are featured in the original floor plan for this current build, and actually a lot like a lot of the floor plans that are in the book that I've been using. But since I don't have City Living, instead I used those built-in cabinets that I'm sure you saw. and they're all right. But I'd rather be as true to the original floor plan as possible. On the other hand, I'm not sure that I'm ready for city living yet because I'm still learning more about building houses. Whereas if I get city living, I'll start wanting to do apartments. And I'm not saying I don't want to build apartments because I do, but I'm focusing on standalone homes right now, and I need to learn how to build the shell of the house and the roofing and stuff like that. I've also been thinking about picking up Get Together before I start my next build because they have lots of new activities and a beautiful new world based on a small German town. And they also have these like Tudor style build elements, and one of my favorite things is like those windows with the diamond shaped window panes. But I just bought 4 stuff packs because they're 50% off right now. So I got romantic garden stuff, tiny living stuff, backyard stuff, and nifty knitting stuff. And I haven't even looked at any of the items yet. Like I know what's in these packs from watching other videos and because I can preview it before I buy it, but I haven't actually looked at these items like in the menu where you choose them and where you look through the swatches, and they're all showing in my game lit up as brand new. So I need to just go through and kind of review what I have and what I might be able to do with it because stuff packs are very small, but 4 of them amounts to a lot of content. Anyway, all of that is to say, I don't know if I want to dive into another major expansion when there's so much I already own that I haven't even explored yet. So I've been editing this audio as I'm adding it to the video. And one thing that I've noticed is once I export my audio, it's somehow getting clipped off at the very end of each clip. At the end of each file. I don't really know what's causing that, but that's the reason why sometimes it cuts off before I completely finish my sentence or finish pronouncing a word. So I'm sorry about that. I'll try to figure out why that's happening so I can prevent it in the future. It's just super weird to me that it's happening because when I'm speaking, I can see the audio waves like on my screen, and I know that I'm not cutting off the video until I'm totally done speaking. So I know that I'm not cutting it off in the wrong place. I'm saving it with all of the audio fully intact, and then when I'm uploading that file to my video and play it back in my video editor is when it's cutting off. So this could totally just be a matter of me needing to find a much better video editing software. I hope you've enjoyed this installment of our 3-part build series. If you did, then I invite you to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click the bell for notifications. I also would love to hear from you in the comments, so please leave me a note in the comments. Let me know what you liked, let me know what you didn't like, what you'd like to see. But it is about that time, so I hope you have a wonderful Friday. Please be kind to yourself, be kind to others, remember to stay hydrated, and I will see you in part 3 of this build next week when I upload this build and family to the gallery. See you next time.